Hello. Good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Rebound Coach Live. My name is Dallas Cohen. I'm the Rebound Coach, and I am so glad that you're here today. Whether you are here live with me on Facebook, you are watching the replay at some other point, or you're hanging out over on Clubhouse. I'm so glad you're here. Y'all, I'm fixing my hair because I see it in the mirror. Okay, so today we're going to talk about something that is pretty pervasive. So it happens to, I would say, everyone at some level. Honestly, I would say everybody experiences this at some level, at some point in their life. And so it's a good reminder for all of us. And it's on people pleasing, y'all. Do you have the disease to please? Well, if this is your first time watching a Rebound Coach Live or listening to, and you've never shared virtual space with me before, thank you so much for sharing your virtual space with me today, your real time and virtual space. It is an honor. And if you don't know anything about me, my name is Dallas Cohen. I go by the Rebound Coach, and I serve high-achieving women of faith who've lived through betrayal, trauma, or abuse and want to reclaim territory in their relationship with themselves. That journey for me started a while back, but the big headline, so to speak, the reason why this season of the journey has been what it is, I was married to a man for 10 years who wanted me dead, y'all. And I wish that was a joke or a movie plot, but like it was real life. He almost had the chance to try it. And that didn't make a whole lot of sense for somebody like me, because I came up in a good Christian home with parents. They loved God. They loved each other. They were married for a lifetime. It didn't make sense for me to have the kind of situation I had. I had a great example in my parents of a good relationship. At the same time, I was molested from age 8 to age 16. And that really changes how you see yourself growing up, because your identity is forming. For me, how I related to God in a household of faith and how I related to men. So fast forward, met this guy that I married and eventually later on divorced. There were definitely red flags there. People talk about a honeymoon story where they didn't see any issues and then some came after the wedding. That wasn't the case for me. There were definitely issues on the front side. But as a woman of faith, as a praying woman, I believed that God's answer was yes. And because of that, I believe that whatever would come, we would outlast it. We'd overcome it. We'd make it somehow. And the trouble that did come, didn't wait, came right away and never quite left. We got into a cycle of what I call coping and crisis. So that's when you're just kind of barely making it. You never get to a happy period. It's never real joyful. It's just you're just kind of tiptoeing around each other. And then you do that for a while, and then a big crisis blows up. In our case, there was mental illness in the house. He had some mental illness concerns. And so when those crises are big crises. And so we'd have one of those every so often, and we kind of recover. We kind of get back to our schedule, the life we had learned to live. And we did that for another while until another crisis came. That cycle lasted a few years, to be honest. And I was suicidal and hopeless and just very, very sad. I was very committed to my marriage, but didn't see a way out into a life that I was happy to be living. So end of 2019, beginning of 2020, everything just kind of came to a head. He on the edge of one of those crises, we never got back to that coping place. And he left for another woman. Found out him and that woman were plotting my murder. It was absolutely outrageous. And through a series of divine events, I'm still here. My children are safe and healthy, and we're getting to have this conversation today. And the way I share the story is I could allow the identity that my ex-husband had for me, and quite frankly, the identity that I had agreed to, that I had invited him to label me with. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Because you might be like, what are you talking about? He was abusive, that all came from him and that didn't come from you at all. What I will say is, while I'm not responsible for anyone else's choices or behavior, the same way you are not responsible for anyone's choices or behavior, what we are responsible for is how we allow others to treat us. And that doesn't mean that you're supposed to know everything. It doesn't mean anything other than what it is. Doesn't mean anything other than what it actually is. We're responsible for how we allow other people to treat us. And that is not about controlling someone else. It is about controlling ourselves. And we'll talk more about that today, because it's in line with our topic. So, y'all, I could allow that identity to tell me who I was, or I could choose life. So I wrote a book out of all of that story I told you, because there's a whole lot I didn't have time to tell you in the 5 minutes we've been together. And that book's name is I Choose Life. Rewrite your love story and change your legacy. And we're not just talking about romantic love, okay? Because that's a love story, but also how we learned to love and how we learned to receive love. So if that's a story in your life that you want to change, your next step is going to thereboundcoach.com/book. That is thereboundcoach.com/book. And you can get this book. You can get one of these physical ones, and I will sign it for you and put it in the mail to you with a smiley face and a love note. Or you can go right to that website and get one from Amazon, and they'll send it to you. Or an ebook. So, yeah. Today, this is important, guys. This is important. This is something that happens, like I said, to everyone at some level. And it's something that is a sneaky little sucker. And if you're not paying attention, it can really, really take you for a ride. Like, it has control of you and you don't have control of it. And it's telling you how to feel. It's telling you what to do. It's leading you around like a I just imagine a bull with the little nose ring, like the bull ring, and somebody pulling that big, giant, strong bull that could kill anybody being pulled around by that ring. That's how it is when we have a disease to please. That thing is telling us what to do. And we're not in control of ourselves, even though we have so much power. So, do you have the disease to please? How do you know? How do I know? Okay, so there are many signs. This is not an exhaustive list at all, but it's just some common themes, okay? If you are saying yes to people's requests when you want to say no, right? And sometimes it can be so pervasive that we don't even know we want to say no. We just know we're exhausted. We just know that you're constantly coaching yourself into justifying your choice. They asked me to run the PTA and be the coach on the girls' soccer team, and I need to help with the school play, and I just joined a baking class with my friend, and we're doing yoga, like all the things. You might be like, look, I'm just I'm just a housewife. This is what I fill my days with, and it's all okay. It's okay that I don't get too much sleep. Like, that's the way it ought to be, like hustle and grind. It's okay that I'm living on caffeine. It's okay. My child is not sleeping very well. I'm not sleeping very well. It's okay, right? Like, we're constantly coaching ourselves into why it's okay to do the things that we said we're doing. right? Why, they've asked me for money time and time and time again, and it's okay that they keep coming back for money. It's okay. They really are in a rough spot, and it's all right. They're not taking advantage of me. No, of course not. They just really need, and I am their special friend. Okay. All right. So saying yes when you want to say no, and like doing the whole mind justification dance. Becoming depressed when you perceive someone's disapproval of you, right? So it seems like they might not be happy with me. And taking somebody's disagreement over an issue to be, they don't like me. They have it out for me. I knew they didn't like me. I knew it. And this happens a lot with in the work world, in the corporate world, the work world, with bosses. So, somebody says something, I don't like the way you did this project, or whatever it is. Oh my gosh, they don't like me. They have it out for me. Okay. They can't be pleased. Right. And I've heard, I'm not a man, so I can't really speak for men because all I can do is guess. But I've heard men say in marriages, she can't be pleased. There's no pleasing her, so I'm not going to try. I don't know if that's genuine or if that's poppycock. I have no idea. Not a man. I can only say I've heard that. So when people think, oh, so-and-so can't be pleased, she can't be pleased, I'm not going to try. And people get lazy. I heard that in my marriage. You can't be pleased, so I stopped trying. Okay. Now, me as a wife in that moment was like, you're just being lazy. But I don't know. You tell me if you are watching this and you're a gentleman, tell me if that's real or not. Okay. So becoming depressed when you perceive someone's disapproval of you, or disapproval of a thing, or disagreement with a thing. Okay. Taking things very personally that may or may not be personal. And many things are not. And here's the test, guys. We're often projecting what we believe about someone else for ourselves. Or vice versa. We're projecting onto them what we actually believe. So if we're thinking something's about us, but think about it. Think about it, y'all. Think about it. When you have a problem with a thing, an issue, an idea that you're just not in agreement with, is it about a person or is it about a thing? Many times, I won't even use the word often, but many times it's about the thing, the issue, the situation, the book, the movie, the article, whatever, right? We have a problem with a thing. We don't necessarily have a problem with a person who may or may not be involved with the thing. But when someone has an issue with our thing, whatever our thing is, we're like, oh man, that's about me, isn't it? You just don't like me. You don't like me. Okay. We've all done this. I've done this. And it's likely, it happens. It could happen again. That's okay. We're all learning. So another sign, having a disease to please, being self-depreciative. I don't know if that's a whole word, but that's what I put together. Being self-depreciative and making comments / justifying before giving suggestions. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, I'm reading you my notes, but what does that mean? So let's say you're in a work meeting and you have an idea, but before you express the idea, you go, oh, I'm not sure if this is the right thing, but, and then you say your idea. It's probably not great, but, and then you say whatever it is. So your coworkers, colleagues, teammates spend a lot of time going, oh no, you're fine. Oh, no, it's okay. Like because I'm sometimes that coworker, spending that time going, hey, it's okay. That sounds like a great idea. And so instead of, now it's good to be a good colleague. It's good to be a supportive colleague, a good coworker, a good friend, a good family member, like all the things. That's good. It can, but it's also not your colleague's job, your team member's job, to be your therapy people or your cheering section per se. It's great when you have wonderfully supportive coworkers, but they're not your therapy place. Meaning, as an adult, as a professional in whatever it is that you do, it's important to carry the weight of your own heart. Okay. That doesn't mean you can't ask for help when you need it. Matter of fact, it means you should ask for help when you need it. That's part of it. Carrying the weight of your own heart, taking responsibility for your own emotional well-being, taking responsibility for your self-esteem, taking responsibility for your own healing journey. Like, it's not everybody else's job to kind of carry your weight. Now, we need each other, and we should be asking each other for support when we need support. But you know what it feels like. Most adults know what it feels like when somebody's leaning real heavy on you and you can feel that it's heavy. And we also don't want to be that person to someone else. So what does that mean? Does that mean I never get to ask for help? No, the contrary is true. It means when you see that you need help, get it. When you see that you need help, when you see that you need support, when you see you're overwhelmed, reach out, get solutions, get support, find a friend, find a professional, do what you need to do to continue on your walk so that you get stronger as your days go on. All right, that felt like a sidebar. Okay. But a sign of disease of please is self-depreciative comments and negatively justifying before you submit an idea, before you show yourself. It is that safety net of, hey, I spoke bad about myself before anyone else could. It's that. Okay, so trying to get someone else to give me approval because I gave myself disapproval. Okay, so last sign I'll mention here is having trouble making decisions. This is the folks that get in the car and say, okay, let's go out to eat. Where do you want to go? Oh, it doesn't matter. Where do you want to go? Oh, it doesn't matter. Where do you? And they do this dance for who knows how long, and nobody ever goes anywhere except, there's me in the backseat going, let's go over here. Right? Having trouble making decisions because you're always wanting to defer to that other person. Okay. So, like I mentioned, this is very, very, very common. We all can find ourselves in one of these traits at least once, probably more than once. It's very common. We are made in the image of God, and we all benefit from, and I hesitate to say need, but I would say we all highly benefit from and crave adoration, affirmation, approval, acceptance. Okay. Interdependence. We are created to be interdependent upon one another, and we are. Okay. So the idea of, hey, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I don't care what anybody thinks about me. Okay. This is something that like teenagers really clearly go through as a phase. Like, and even though they do inside, they care, but like on the outside, I don't care what anybody. I was in high school when that phase happened to me. And the people around me, I don't care. Right? We all cared so desperately, but but we said we didn't. Right? So even though that is a good thing to have going on, our base nature, I want to say, our humanity is a humanity that is interdependent. And so we will, at some level, appreciate someone's affirmation, someone's adoration, someone's acceptance, someone's approval. Okay. This is normal. So I'm just leveling the playing field, normalizing this. So there's no shame to have. Okay. There's no shame to have. This is something we all walk through, and it's something you can continue to grow in without shame. Okay. All right. So where does this come from? There's a whole bunch of answers. Okay. But I'm only going to do a couple because that's really all we need to be thinking about. So where does people pleasing come from? Insecurity, which has a fear base, low self-esteem, which has a shame base, perfectionism, which is also a shame fear base. Okay, so this is all related. Perfectionism, fear of rejection. So we just kind of talked about that a little bit. Fear of is the opposite of affirmation, acceptance, adoration. The opposite of that is rejection. We all face rejection. We have all faced rejection. That's a normal course of life. Now, does it become a life-altering issue for everyone? No, but we all do experience it. Okay, so how deep that takes you, okay, rejection, how deep that can take you can be related to some of these other issues: insecurity, low self-esteem, perfectionism. And I would also surmise it as giving our power and worth away to other people's opinion, our power and our worth. Because the heart cry behind I want to please you is, I don't want you to reject me. I don't want you to dislike me, because if you do ... the world is over. I'm not worth anything. I'm no good. My life is horrible. I shouldn't be alive. Like, people take it that far. That is giving our worth and our power over to someone else's opinion, not even to someone else, period, to someone else's opinion. And one of my mentors says opinions are like farts. Everybody's got them. They kind of stink. Some are quiet, some are loud, right? They're here and then they're gone. Okay. Opinions are like farts. Emotions are like farts. Okay. You don't forget those kind of comparisons. So, all right. So we talked about where it came from, giving our power away to someone else's, our power and our worth away to someone else's opinion. So what do you do about it? Okay. All right. We know this is common. We know everybody experiences it. What do I do with this? Okay. Just a couple concepts here for you. Number one is developing a growth mindset. Now, if you are in the professional space, lots and lots of people have heard of growth mindset. There is a book called Mindset. I don't have my physical copy to show you right now, but it's a very popular book. I highly recommend that you read it / listen to it on a regular basis, because it's a very, very healthy reminder of how to have a self view and a world view that's healthy and productive. Okay, so it compares the idea of a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. It's too much for me to go into like the whole thing. You have to just listen to the book for yourself. But the basic premise is there's one line of thinking that we are all prone to. That's it means we have certain fixed traits, right? We have someone is smart, someone is pretty, someone is well accomplished, someone is, they are what they are, and then someone's not what they're not, right? Versus you can change. Anyone has the ability to change even very core characteristics about themselves. So someone can theoretically go from dumb to smart, right? Somebody can go from fast to slow or slow to fast. Things people wouldn't, from ugly to pretty, right? People are like, well, what do you mean? Like, you are what you are. The growth mindset says you actually can change. And it says the win, so to speak, the benefit is not so much in reaching a destination, but in the learning itself, in the skills that it takes to learn, in the heart attitude, the mental attitude, the fortitude, the resilience it takes to learn a new skill. That is the prize. And so taking on more and more challenging situations in the pursuit of growth is a growth mindset. The beauty to keeping that in your mind when it comes to people pleasing is we can continue to grow. We can continue to change out of that. We don't have to be bound by someone else's opinion and whether or not someone else accepts or rejects us. We don't have to be afraid of confrontation, of getting things wrong. Okay. Because a lot of it's, I'm afraid to get something wrong. And it's not a matter of getting something wrong. It's a matter of learning. And we can't learn if we're not willing to risk getting it wrong. Okay. So that number one is a big way to combat the disease to please. And also, here's another big thing to think about. So pleasing someone, the desire to please someone, the unhealthy desire, I'll say, to please someone comes out of this place of fear and, insecurity and the things we just talked about, right? Comes from fear, comes from desperation. I'm scared someone's not going to love me, and I'm scared their lack of approval means something more than that, right? But what should you be doing? How should we be treating others? Should we be going like, well, forget you then? Like people go to the opposite extreme. They don't want to please you, so they just go, I'm going to displease you now. Kick rocks. Okay. Between there is this concept of honor. The concept of honoring someone. So I'm not trying to please you. I'm not trying to give you what you want, but I am, just for the sake of that, I am choosing to show honor toward you because that's who I choose to be. So a desire to honor another person comes from your own character. It comes from, this is who I am. This is how I live. I choose to honor you by doing X. I choose to honor you by not speaking over you. I choose to honor you by listening, just listening. I'm just going to hold space and just listen to you. I'm not going to talk about my point. I'm not going to talk about myself at all. Just going to listen and acknowledge you and give you safe space. That is a way to honor someone. Okay. Not expressing your way, not trying to get your way out of a situation is a way to honor someone. Does that mean I am degrading myself or I am allowing myself to be harmed by another person? No, that's not what that means at all. It's not what that means at all, and is not applicable to abusive situations. Okay. Abusive situations, make sure you're healthy, make sure you are safe. Number one, make sure you are in a space where you are free enough to be healthy, to get healthy. If you need that kind of help, let me know. That's not what this is about. Honoring someone. And even for real, when I was leaving my former husband, it was honoring to him to allow him his choices. So think about it. I was in a situation where the man I was married to had left and didn't say, hey, I don't want you anymore. I want to go be with this other person. It just bounced. Okay. So if I was going to stay in a people pleasing posture, it would be begging him to come back. It would be, trying to hang on, right? Trying to hang on. Now that's not where I was. Even then, I was committed to being married. I was committed to my vows, but not so much like trying to please him from that point of view. But anyway, that can happen in a situation like that. Like, oh gosh, you got to pick me, right? Please stay. I'll do anything. That kind of posture is a people pleasing posture. Like, I gotta have your acceptance. I gotta have your approval. I gotta have your, you gotta stay. Versus, these are his choices. these are his choices. He chose to leave. He chose this other person. He chose this other kind of life he wants to have. I honor him and allow that choice to happen. Like, that's the choice he made. I don't choose those things. And I honor me and not choosing those things for my own life. So honor comes from a place of character. And I just want to encourage you, for if there's a coworker, a boss, a friend, a spouse, any relationship really, including the one with yourself, where you feel like there's a people pleasing dynamic happening and you're feeling like, I've got to make them happy. And they're in a power indifference. So for a boss, a preacher, a parent, sometimes a husband in certain kinds of marriages where, there's an authority structure going on, and this person has power over you, and you, or I'll say authority. People don't like to use the word power in a marriage okay. People don't like to use that word. So we'll swap out authority if you don't like the word power. But if there is a structure like that happening, and hey, I need this person to approve of me, or something bad's going to happen to me, right? You can also choose honor instead of fear. When we move out of fear, that's what's coming back to us. Okay. It's often we don't get good results when we move out of fear. Okay. We don't get good results that are long-term and in agreement with our goals when we move out of fear. You might get that immediate safety, okay, or perceived safety that comes when we make fear-based choices, because we are trying to be safe, right? It's just a facade. So instead of moving out of fear, even in that power dynamic, move out of honor. I choose to honor this boss, even if I don't understand this boss, even if it looks like this boss is out to get me, even though it looks like I need to do all the CYA stuff. Okay, it might look like all those things, but instead of choosing CYA because I need to protect myself from whatever because I'm afraid, okay, instead of that, I'm going to honor my boss. I'm going to honor my employer. I'm going to honor this situation they've asked me to steward over. And this is how I'm going to show that honor. Okay. Keeping that other person's perspective in mind, not their opinion of me or what I think their opinion of me is, but their perspective. Try to see the situation through their eyes and find a way to show honor. Okay. Other practical ways to get it done, y'all. Practical ways to get it done. There's a couple things going on, and there are opportunities for you to reclaim territory in your relationship with yourself, for you to reverse the disease to please, for you to reclaim that ground. Number one, there is a 30-day virtual coaching experience that I am curating called Reclaim. Okay, it's going on in the month of April, and you can find out more about it at thereboundcoach.com/store. Let's see if I can share that with you. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, there you go. Going to thereboundcoach.com, you can click on store, or you can just go to the regular website and click on store from there. And let me show you what we're looking at. Okay, doing a little dance here. All right, this is what you're looking for. Reclaim 30-day group coaching virtual experience in April of 2023. We're doing something special. I'm very, very excited to do this with you. We are only taking a certain number of folks into the group coaching experience. So you do not want to miss your spot. You can go right over to thereboundcoach.com/store and get your spot in Reclaim. I'm taking a certain small number of women through a virtual experience where we are coming back to ourselves. So if you find yourself in that disease to please place and you don't want to be, and you're tired of trying to do this by yourself, join us. It's going to be really, really wonderful. So, all right. That's one thing. And then the other thing is Sanctuary Experience, which is coming up soon. Okay, I'm doing a dance all by myself and it's so weird. Okay. It's coming up really soon. You can find information about Sanctuary Experience at thereboundcoach.com/sanctuary. It is our 3-day VIP healing retreat over in Clearwater Beach. It's amazing. And there are actually, for real, only a few spots left for this upcoming sanctuary coming up in April 21st through 23rd. It's going to be so good. I'm so excited. So if you're watching this on the replay, please put in the comments. Let me know what stood out to you. Where in your life have you seen yourself be trapped in disease to please? Are there areas where you've seen growth in yourself in those in that area? Like, man, I used to do this, but now I'm doing that. I'd love to know what areas you've overcome this and what areas you are still growing. Okay. If you know about fixed mindset versus a growth mindset, tell me those stories too. I want to know because I really, really enjoyed reading through that book, and we'll definitely do it again. So thank you so much for spending time with me today. It has been a true honor to share time with you. I truly appreciate you plugging into this. Please share this with someone you care about. And if you fuss at somebody like, see, she's talking about you. Okay, don't do that. Don't do that. But do share it though. Just say, I was thinking of you. I heard this and I thought of you. With a little smiley face. Okay. But thank you so much again. I truly, truly appreciate your time. I will see you next week for another encouraging message. And until next time, guys, choose life.